In the world of basketball, the smallest tweak of a roster can absolutely change the entire landscape of the team's future. And a little over a week ago, the media painted a horrible picture regarding the Boston Celtics, basically saying that if they didn't trade Jaylen Brown, they would never win anything more than maybe just another Eastern Conference championship. With that being said, Brad Stevens in the Celtics front office had a lot of thinking to do in terms of what direction they wanted to send this team after, having an upset season, an underwhelming season where they lost in the championship game to the Miami, or the Eastern Conference championship game to the Miami Heat in 7 games. Very disappointing. But Brad Stevens had a lot to think about, and a couple of days before the draft, boom, Brad Stevens makes a move that sent shockwaves throughout the entire NBA, and just like that, the Celtics looked like one of the most improved teams before free agency or the NBA draft even started. But that's not it either. The Celtics then traded back multiple times in the draft and got one of the potential steals of the entirety of the draft as well. Today I bring you a video that breaks down the incredible story of how the Boston Celtics went from pretender to contender in just 1 week. However, before we jump into the video, I need you guys to do me a huge favor and smash that like button if you haven't already done so. It helps out the channel so much. So let's see if we can get the video up to 500 likes. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be covering the Boston Celtics all off-season long, and I also will be live streaming every single Celtics game next season, including the NBA Summer League as well. So if you want to watch some Summer League games with me live, then join the family, turn on post notifications so you're notified every time we go live for a game and every time we post a video as well. But without any further ado, let's jump right into today's video. Now, it all began with Brad Stevens finally understanding that he needed to make some sort of roster move to this team. Just, shuffle up the pieces a little bit. Nothing too big that would upset Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but something that would be big enough to help them reach the next level of their goal of winning the NBA championship. The team recognized they needed someone to bolster their roster and elevate their chances of success for next season. First, they initiated a blockbuster trade, acquiring a star player known for his exceptional scoring ability, his unique size that makes him a threat anywhere on the floor at all times, Kristaps Porzingis. This acquisition instantly injected a new level of talent in this Celtics lineup that we haven't seen in a very long time, providing them with a dominant force in the front court to match up with Rob Williams and Al Horford. Kristaps Porzingis is actually coming off a career season with the Washington Wizards, averaging a career high in points per game while also shooting lights out from the floor and the three-point line. Porzingis is one of the most unique players in the entire NBA due to his freakish size, athleticism, and overall ability to contribute on both ends of the floor. Now, not only does he fit what Joe Mazzulla wants to do offensively in terms of just shooting the three ball, he is amazing. He shot 38.5% from behind the arc last season, which is, incredible. He's also known as being one of the most lethal post players in the NBA as well. And we also know that Boston hasn't had one of those guys in a long time either. You have a guy like Rob Williams who, has pretty much no post game at all. And then Al Horford is getting up there in age. So Porzingis alone is going to add 3-point shooting. I mean, we're going to go over it in a second, but so much that we haven't seen in Boston in a long time. Now, we also have to note that he is a monster shot blocker as well. You put him alongside Robert Williams in some lineups, and that is absolutely demoralizing for opponents trying to score in the paint. A team like Miami, they like to score in the paint with Porzingis and Rob Williams in the lineup. I don't know if you're going to be able to do that. Then you look at, the times where he can, be the lone five man on the floor, and he's going to be able to stretch the floor, allow the paint to be wide open for guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Even Malcolm Brogdon, if he stays on the team, will have wide open lanes when you have Kristaps Porzingis just in the corner at the top of the key, just waiting for, a three ball. The paint's going to be completely wide open. And I mean, the amount of different lineups that you can have with Kristaps Porzingis is absolutely insane. You have Kristaps and Al, Kristaps and Robert Williams, just Kristaps. I mean, there's so many different variations of guys you can put on the floor with Kristaps Porzingis because he helps everybody get better as well in terms of just opening up the middle of the floor. And people also love to argue that Porzingis is terrible in terms of moving his feet defensively. However, I would argue he actually had a very solid season last year when it came to switching on to smaller defenders and just holding his own. If Kristaps Porzingis can stay healthy along with Robert Williams, this will be a start of the start of something special here in Boston. And remember, Jalen, Jason, Rob, and Porzingis are all under 28 years old. Scary to really think about. But the Celtics transformation didn't stop there. In a surprising turn of events, Brad Stevens continued to trade back multiple times and got a player in Jordan Walsh, which at first I was very, questioned about. I didn't really know what he was going to bring to the team. But when I started deep dive into what he brought as a player, man, this is one of the most interesting prospects I've seen as a second round pick. Now, this is a guy who is a top-notch defender from the start to the bottom. When he entered his collegiate career, even in high school, this dude was a dog. Someone who could stop anybody at any time and create a whole new energy of basketball. Something that the Celtics need strictly because Marcus Smart is gone. Now, Jared Walsh is a guy that will dive on the ball dive on a loose ball. He will make a big-time play defensively, get a big-time steal. You put his body on line. He will do whatever it takes to win every single defensive possession. And I think he might be, if not the best, defensive wing in the entire draft. Walsh, a former 5-star recruit, has made so many improvements to his game over the last couple of years, but I believe he is only going to continue to get better from here. But I will say, outside of his tremendous defensive ability, he is a very raw prospect and has a ton of work to do in terms of his offensive game. However, with that being said, I could easily see him becoming a huge part or a huge piece of this team as a role-playing defensive wing that just comes in and is a whole new type of energy off the bench. But I also have the thought that he could be a big-time player, not just a role player, but a big-time player overall in terms of what he can bring to this team defensively, and let alone his energy. I cannot wait to see what he brings in these Summer League games, what he brings as a first impression to give off to the Celtics fans around the world. And I do want to remind you guys that I will be live streaming every single Celtics game, including Summer League games. So if you guys want to watch some games with me live this summer, make sure you guys join the family. Make sure you guys turn on post notifications so you're notified every time we go live for a game and post a video. But not only did Brad Stevens add Porzingis and Jordan Walsh, but the fact that he traded out of the first round and added multiple future second round picks, he also opened up a $5 million mid-level exception that now he can use to sign a free agent. Some of these guys include, Jay Crowder, Patrick Beverley, Marcus Morris, if he gets cut, Will Barton, Derrick Rose. All of these guys we could sign on a vet minimum deal only because Brad Stevens decided to trade out of the first round, and we still landed a guy that we really wanted. Now, comment down below who is one guy that you want the Celtics to target throughout free agency. With that being said, there is still a ton of work to do in order to make sure the Celtics roster is ready to compete for a championship next season, starting with building team chemistry and individual development as well. These guys need to get into the lab. They need to get better, lock in, and just improve. But also, Brad Stevens still has a ton of work to do in order to plug some of the holes on this roster. With Marcus Smart, Danilo Gallinari, Mike Muscala all departing, while Peyton Pritchard, Malcolm Brogdon, and Grant Williams all have the potential to depart as well, it leaves Boston with some question marks going forward. Right now, the roster looks like this. At the guards, you got Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, Peyton Pritchard potentially, J.D. Davidson, and then the wings, you got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Sam Hauser, Jordan Walsh, and then the bigs, you got Rob, Al, and Porzingis. From there, we don't really know who's going to be on the team. Even Peyton Pritchard and Malcolm Brogdon might not be here. As we all know, Pritchard did ask for a trade a while ago, is he going to be on the team next year? I mean, Malcolm Brogdon, he basically got traded before the Clippers backed out. So does Malcolm Brogdon still want to be traded? There's still a ton of work to do, and Brad Stevens has to answer a bunch of questions in terms of who's going to be on this roster, who are we going to sign, who's going to start. There's still a ton. Well, I mean, he doesn't have to decide that. That's going to be Joe Mazzulla. But there's still a ton of things that we need to change to this team if we want to be a championship team next season. I love what they've done. I love Jordan Walsh. I've loved Kristaps Porzingis, and I think that's going to be a huge addition to this team next season, not only offensively but defensively. But what do we do in terms of the guards? Do we keep these three guys in Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, Peyton Pritchard, or do we trade a guy like Peyton Pritchard, try to go out and get a guy like Derrick Rose or Peyton Pritchard or Patrick Beverly? What do you guys think we should do? Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, join the family, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Today's video is brought to you by Pro Class, the absolute best place for you to take your game to the highest level. It's the first of its kind sports training and development platform where you can reach your highest potential by learning from some of the best athletes on the entire planet. Some of these guys include Damian Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, Allen Iverson, DeMar DeRozan, and so many more. And I have some great news to you guys. If you guys go use my code MattyDubs, you'll get 50% off hundreds of training videos, workouts, and drills, and you can get in the lab right now. So go check it out. Go steal some of the secrets from some of the top players in the world right now. And if you are interested in developing your skills at any level, if you play in middle school, high school, college, or if your goal is just to be a better athlete, a better basketball player, this is where you need to go. Nobody else does this. Go check them out, and you can learn, develop your skills at a fast pace, high speed level. Click the link in the description for instant access to all of the secrets in the world. And remember, using code MattyDubs will get you 50% off right now, so don't miss out on this offer.